Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today we're cracking open the Book of the Law. This thing, it sparked like endless debate, and I think everyone has a different interpretation.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So, Chapter 1. That's where we're diving in today. We're using Lon Milo DuQuette's reading as our guide for this one. And let me tell you, we are going to untangle some serious concepts.
Yeah.
We're talking the nature of divinity itself, the whole dance between masculine and feminine energies.
Right.
And this radical idea that, we should be chasing pure joy. That's the goal. Okay, so the Book of the Law, Chapter 1. Let's unlock it.
Right from the beginning, you were just thrown into this cosmic drama. Nuit's making this grand entrance, right?
Right.
And she's the central goddess in Thelema. She represents this infinite expanse of space, like space itself. And it's almost like the universe is pulling back the curtain and saying, okay, here are the mysteries.
Yeah, and it's not just any curtain, right?
Oh.
It's the unveiling of the company of heaven.
Exactly.
That's what it says. And then it throws this line at you. Every man and every woman is a star, and each one is infinite.
Wow.
That's not just poetry. That's a statement, right?
It really is.
About like our place, where we fit in the entire cosmos.
It completely changes how we see ourselves. I mean, if you can actually grasp that, like we each have this infinite potential inside us, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And then we meet Hadit. So this is the point of like pure will, and it exists within that infinite space.
Okay.
So imagine like Nuit is the canvas. She's vast, she's huge, and Hadit is the spark that ignites it, the spark of creation.
Okay, I can see it. I can see it. It's like this cosmic dance, right?
Yeah.
Of these total opposites.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about, so often we feel like I'm separate, I'm limited, but this is saying, no, you're part of this huge infinite thing, and you have this power inside of you.
Exactly. And that back and forth between those two opposites, that union of Nuit and Hadit, this is like one of the core principles of Thelema,
Right.
Which is the philosophy that Aleister Crowley developed in the early 1900s.
Okay.
And this book, the Book of the Law, it's kind of its foundation.
Right, right. Yeah, and the way it describes this union, it's so vivid.
Oh, yeah.
Nuit bending down to kiss the secret ardors of Hadit. It's not your typical, religious text.
No.
It's like a love poem to the universe.
It is, and that's what makes it so powerful. It uses this beautiful language, this imagery, to talk about these really complex philosophical ideas.
Right, right. And then we meet this mysterious prophet who's like got this direct connection to Nuit. And lots of scholars think this prophet is actually Crowley himself.
Yeah.
Just like a whole other layer.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Intrigue. And they have this dialogue.
Yeah.
Where the prophet's asking about the sign. And Nuit gives this super mystical answer about the consciousness of the continuity of existence.
Right.
And the omnipresence of her body. I've got to admit, I struggle with this sign concept.
Yeah.
Like, what does it actually mean?
It's a tough one.
It's so abstract.
Well, imagine like a state of being where you're fully aware of how everything is connected.
Okay.
Where you feel existence like flowing through time and space. It's like Nuit is trying to like convey that experience, that feeling of being one with like the whole universe.
So it's not about intellectual understanding. It's about a direct experience of this truth.
Exactly. And that's what you see throughout the Book of the Law. It's not just reading and believing. It's about putting it into practice and like directly experiencing it.
Right, right. Okay, and then there's this phrase that pops up everywhere. Love is the law, love under will.
Yeah.
Which sounds really nice.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's got to be a lot deeper than just romantic love.
It is, yeah. It's not about sentimental love. It's about recognizing love as like this powerful force in the universe. But it's a force that's guided by individual will. Not by society's expectations or any kind of restrictions. It's about like doing what your heart truly desires.
Okay.
Aligning your actions with your truest self.
It makes me think of that line, do that and no other shall say nay. It's like, I'm independent. Back off.
Yeah, it is. It's about reclaiming your power.
Yeah.
Embracing your own unique path and not letting anybody tell you who you should be or what you should do.
It's really empowering, right?
It is, yeah.
And then it talks about these rituals and ordeals. This is where we get into like secret societies and ceremony.
Well, there's definitely some mystery surrounding them.
Sure.
But what we know is that they're designed to connect you to the divine. to help you transform spiritually.
Okay.
Some of the details, they're kept secret on purpose, which makes it even more intriguing, right?
Right. Yeah. And we got to talk about like some of the more challenging parts of this.
Sure.
There's this one that says the word of sin is restriction. Now that pushes against traditional morality, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a radical idea. And you can interpret it in different ways. It could be saying, like, forget those traditional moral codes, the ones that say this is right, this is wrong. But it could also be about recognizing and, like, getting rid of those internal limitations.
Interesting.
The ones we put on ourselves that stop us from being truly authentic.
Right. So, like, the rules that we've just internalized that we carry around, and maybe they're holding us back.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about questioning everything you've inherited about what's acceptable and asking, are these really my beliefs?
Right.
Or am I living someone else's version of me?
And as we go through this chapter, we keep seeing numbers.
Yes.
Like 11, 61, and the 5-pointed star, which we all know, that's a big symbol in Flema.
Yeah.
What's the deal with all these symbols?
Well, think of them like a language,
Right.
like a secret code embedded in the text.
Okay.
11, that's often about breaking boundaries, having magical power. 61, that's connected to the union of opposites, so it links back to Nuit and Hadith.
Okay, I see.
And the 5-pointed star, that represents the human being as this mini version of the universe,
Right.
Reflecting that we carry the entire cosmos inside us.
Wow. So there's more to these symbols than we realize.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and then there's this quick mention of the Scarlet Woman.
Yeah.
She sounds pretty powerful.
She is. She's one of the most intriguing characters, and she's often seen as the symbol of, liberated femininity,
Right.
A real challenge to those traditional gender roles. She's got this wild, untamed energy.
It feels like we could do an entire deep dive on her.
Totally.
But we got to keep moving through chapter 1 because things get super interesting now. The tone shifts. Duit's laying down some ground rules.
Yeah, it does. And this is where that love under will idea really comes into focus. She makes it clear this path, this self-discovery, spiritual exploration, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right. Okay. So she says, if this be not a right, if ye confound the space marks, saying they are one or saying they are many, if the ritual be not ever unto me, then expect the dire judgments of Rahu Kuwait.
Ooh.
That's pretty serious, Joe.
It is. It really highlights the importance of, understanding these principles fully. She's saying there's a right way and a wrong way to approach these mysteries.
Okay.
It's not about just following rituals without thinking. It's about understanding their meaning and doing them with real intention.
Right. And then she talks directly to the scribe. She says, O scribe and prophet, though thou be of the princes, it shall not assuage thee nor absolve thee. She's saying, even if you think you're the chosen one, you still got to follow the rules.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that this path is about being humble, about surrendering to something bigger than yourself.
Right. And then to like balance out all this seriousness, the tone totally changes.
It does.
Nuit gets really sensual and inviting. She says, put on the wings and arouse the coiled splendor within you. Come unto me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like this cosmic dance, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It reminds us that spirituality isn't about denying pleasure or like suppressing our desires.
Right.
It's about embracing them, but with awareness,
Right.
It's about feeling those joys, those ecstasies, because they reflect our connection to the divine.
Yeah. It's like she's saying, yeah, there are rules, but don't forget to enjoy yourself. Don't forget the ecstasy.
Exactly. That joy, that ecstasy, it's a part of the spiritual path. It's about experiencing the fullness of your being, of your connection to everything.
Awesome.
It's interesting. In this next part, Nuit kind of contradicts herself.
Oh.
She says, nor do I demand aught in sacrifice.
Oh.
Like, you don't have to do these rigid rituals, no offerings.
Right, right.
But then she's like, very specific.
Okay.
She's like, this is the incense I like.
Oh, wow.
Certain woods, certain gums, definitely no blood.
So come as you are, but there's a dress code.
Yeah, it's like a divine dress code.
It's interesting. Why the specifics?
I think it reminds us that, even in a philosophy that's all about individual will, there's still like a structure,
Okay.
a framework to work within.
Right.
And those details, like the incense, the clothes,
Yeah.
they create a certain atmosphere,
Okay.
a resonance with Nuit.
So it's not empty ritual. It's about setting up a certain kind of experience.
Sure.
And speaking of experience, this is where it gets really intense.
Oh, yeah.
Nuit says, I love you, I yearn to you. Pale or purple, veiled or voluptuous, I who am all pleasure, desire you.
Wow.
It's a lot to hear a divine being talking like
Yeah,
that.
it's bold and sensual, right? But it gets to the core of Philema. Your body, your pleasures, they're part of the spiritual path.
So this isn't just like regular romantic love. We're talking about like
Right.
merging with Nuit's energy, right?
Exactly. It's about that feeling of oneness that goes beyond the physical.
Okay.
And she's calling on us to like awaken to our own potential. Remember, put on the wings and arouse the coiled splendor within you. It's about unleashing your power.
So she wants to help us unleash it. It's in there. And it's not just about personal change.
Right.
No.
No.
Remember that line from earlier? They shall gather my children into their fold. They shall bring the glory of the stars into the hearts of men.
That's important. This isn't just about you being enlightened. It's about bringing that light to other people.
Yeah. And then we're back to numbers. Nu says, my number is 11. Is all their numbers who are of us. 11's popping up a lot.
And remember, we talked about 11 being about breaking boundaries, like magical power. It's a way of knowing who's on this path.
Right. Okay. And then she describes her color. My color is black to the blind, but the blue and gold are seen of the seen. Now, what is this, a literal color or?
It's about how we perceive things.
Okay.
You know, to those who aren't ready, the blind, she might look dark, even scary.
Okay.
But if you're open, you've seen, then you see her true colors, the blue of the sky, the gold of the stars.
So you have to be ready. And then this is a big promise. But to love me is better than all things. If under the night stars in the desert, thou presently burnest mine incense before me, invoking me with a pure heart, and the serpent flame therein, thou shalt come a little to lie in my bosom. That's intense.
It really is. It's about this deep intimacy. And notice, she says, a pure heart. So it's not about using this power for yourself. It's about love, real devotion.
Okay. It's about giving yourself over to it completely. But then there's a warning. For one kiss wilt thou then be willing to give all, but whoso gives one particle of dust shall lose all in that hour. That's a lot of pressure.
It is. It's about how serious this path is. You have to give everything or you risk losing it all.
All or nothing. But the rewards are amazing, right? She says, he shall gather goods and store of women and spices. He shall wear rich jewels. He shall exceed the nations of the earth in splendor and pride, but always in the love of me. Sounds like a fairy tale.
Yeah. But those material things, they come second. The real reward is the love of me. That union with Nuit. That's the real joy.
Okay, so it's not about being rich or powerful for its own sake. It's about experiencing it through this love, this connection with the divine. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's this instruction for the priestess. With you shall the priestess say, and her eyes shall burn with desire. She stands bare and rejoicing in my secret temple. To me.
It's powerful imagery. It's feminine power, sexuality right out there. The priestess isn't passive.
Right.
She's part of this ritual. She's a channel for Nuit's energy.
And it's not just physical desire, though, right? It's deeper. It's like a passion for the divine.
Exactly. It's about taking that desire and making it sacred, making it transformative.
Yeah, like everyone's invited to this cosmic dance. And then there's this beautiful line. Sing the rapturous love song unto me. Burn to me perfumes, wear to me jewels, drink to me, for I love you, I love you. It's like all the senses are involved.
Absolutely. It's about experiencing the divine with your whole being. Sound, smell, sight, taste.
Total immersion. Wow, and then it just ends. The manifestation of Nuit is at an end, like a curtain closing.
And we're left with this feeling of awe, but also wanting more. What else is hidden in here?
Yeah, I feel like we barely scratched the surface, and it was a lot. And we're only halfway through chapter 1. There's a lot more to explore. Okay, so chapter 1, I mean, wow. Even if you're, like, familiar with Philema,
Yeah.
it's a lot. The Book of the Law is wild.
It always blows my mind, every time.
Yeah, totally. Before we go, like, completely off the rails into this cosmic vastness, let's break down some key ideas for everyone listening, right?
Yeah, good idea.
We covered a ton, but what are the big, like, takeaways here?
I think the foundation is like really understanding those core figures.
Okay.
So, this boundless space. And then Hadit, that spark of will that's like inside that space.
Yeah.
And when those two come together, that represents the duality that like fuels creation.
Right. And then there's this whole love under will thing.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And that's not like typical love. It's love that's driven by what we truly want.
Yeah.
Our own paths.
Yes. It's about aligning your actions with what you really want deep down.
Okay.
free from all those pressures and limitations.
Right. So the book of the law is encouraging us to break free from all those restrictions, whether they're from society or even from ourselves.
Exactly, yeah.
And we can't forget, it keeps saying live it, experience it. It's not just like an idea, philosophy. It's like go do it.
It's a call to action. It's saying engage with the divine, use rituals, use symbols, express yourself fully.
Yeah.
It's about like taking those ideas and living them, not just thinking about them.
Right, right.
Okay.
Okay, so for someone listening who's maybe new to all of this,
Yeah.
what does it all mean? Like, what's the takeaway here?
At its core, the Book of the Law is like a challenge.
Okay.
It wants us to question our assumptions, look at our beliefs, and figure out, what does freedom really mean for us? What does it mean to be fulfilled? It's not a set of rules to follow. It's like a framework for self-discovery, to make your own path.
So own your spiritual journey, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Maybe it leads you to Niue, maybe somewhere else entirely. But be open, be curious, keep exploring.
Exactly. And like Nuit says, to love me is better than all things. But that love, you got to work for it, understand it, step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah. Okay. So as we wrap up chapter 1, I want everyone listening to think about this. Those ideas we talked about, love under will,
Yeah.
personal experience, questioning everything. How can that inspire you on your own spiritual journey? There's so much here. Go back, listen to DuQuette's reading again. See what speaks to you.
It's just the beginning. There's a whole book to explore, a whole universe of ideas.
Awesome. So keep diving deep, keep asking questions, and keep looking for those sparks of truth that light you up.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep exploring.